Welcome, guys, to your ultimate mastermind. This is awesome. It's a small little group of us today. I just wanted to connect. Usually what we do, or what I suggest, I've been inside of this business for a very long time, is that you keep talking about it. You keep going in and you basically keep relevant on your business. You connect with other like-minded individuals and you get a chance to share. The power of the mastermind is super powerful. And so we're really excited that, we've got some powerful leaders here. Omar is a really good friend of mine. Holly and Renee, these are clients of mine. And I said, hey, you guys need a mastermind. Come on in and just take a look and check it out. We've basically been in this – I've been in this business since 2014, and it's been a very powerful journey so far. We've got Stephanie here. Hey, what's up, Steph? Sorry, Steph. She was expecting we were going to meet today, but it's actually next week. So great to connect with you again. Thanks for coming on. I just wanted to basically I wanted to come and do a little bit of training and just share with you guys with a little bit of stuff that's going on and how to approach this year. And last week or last time we were doing this, we were talking a little bit about how to get your posts more positive and to not use such negative framing in the way that you speak and all that good stuff. And Omar just dropped some really powerful knowledge to me on that. I really appreciate it. So if you guys feel like you want to jump in on this, I am recording this, so we'll be able to use this as a resource for later. The steel sharpens steel. We're going to be able to give this to our teams and to people who are watching the replay. Get live with us. Show up for your business. Absolutely. The people we see here, they're committed. They're making things happen in their business. They want to show up. So it's a powerful reason why that you guys are deserving of the success you want. But what I wanted to do was actually get Forbes on and he's like the clinical master. He's inside of my business, and if he does come on, he does. If not, I'm just gonna fill in his shoes. But the reality is that like I've known him since we were in grade 4 or grade 3, and he's been a childhood friend of mine. And basically, I was just like, dude, I found this water. It's crazy stuff. You got to take a look at it. 6 months later, he joins my business, and he's been building it ever since. And now he's on his way to 6A. This guy gets leads like nothing else. His conversation has grown. He's grown to a massive leader inside of the global affiliate zone. So we're super blessed to have him. And I was hoping that he would come on because his angle, like when him and I partner up, I come in with the mindset and the more the mentality of things, the philosophy of things, the bigger stuff, the numerology even. And then he comes in with the ad copy, the writing things out, the income producing activities, and the actually getting stuff done in your business. So it's a very objective view that he takes when he looks at his guests and his business and his partners. And there's one thing that he taught me that was really, really powerful. Ty, what's up, buddy? How's it going, man? Welcome to the Fun House. What's up, buddy?
What up? How are you guys?
Good. How are you, man?
Good. Great.
I love seeing you, bro. I love connecting with you. Holly, meet Ty. Ty, meet Renee. Renee, or Stephanie, Ty.
Yeah.
Mars, what's up? These are my people. Stephanie and Ty are people from the island. Omar is a fellow Canadian, and I believe Renee and Holly, you guys are out in Aussie land, hey? Yeah.
Sorry, we're New Zealand.
New Zealand. Sorry, Kiwis.
Nice.
Sorry, guys. No offense. No, not gonna go that direction. Okay, cool. So we're here all over the world. But one thing that at Forbes taught me, and this is like where Ty came in. Ty, I was just talking about my boy Richard Forbes. He was gonna come meeting with us. I know, yeah, but he's missing in action. He's like, dude, I could pop in your mastermind. I'm like, dude, you gonna drop some training for us? As I know the value of what this guy has to speak, but when you see him speak and when you experience him, I suggest you guys follow him for like what to do with your ads. If you guys want to learn about what things you should post about or how your wording should come out, he leaves nothing to chance. He's just chiseled a lot of different pieces of the game. And if you ask him what his success story is or why he's become successful, he'll tell you it's because he did this every single day. He didn't give up. And that every single day he put something into his business, and then he grew as a leader, grew as a speaker, grew as something that was able to actually share that story with others more eloquently, more powerfully, and people watched his growth. People watched his growth, and this is what brings me to the biggest thing that he taught me, was that people can take up to 6 to 9 months to actually join your business. You're not going for the instant, quick little get a lead and then get a buyer. The reality is that you could be growing, and if you're not grabbing your sales right now, you could be growing into them. So when you have an ad or a post, it could be super non-threatening and non-sales, non-assuming, and just open the relationship, engage in the conversation, help someone to understand you, know you, like you, and trust you a little bit without the feeling of I'm going to jump in. Because he said it takes 6 to 9 months for my leads to start piling in. Once they buy, on average, they've been watching me for 6 to 9 months before they make a decision or they make a step. But once they do, they've been seeing me grow. They see the power in it. Now I'm in a more valuable place, able to close them and get them on an actual machine and to get them set up. And he's in my 2A. He was like the second person I got into my business. So it's been a blessing to work with him and to be in there. But I was just dropped my jaw. I was like, wow, like to see what he's accomplished. I'm like, man, what's your secret? I remember the first thing we saw was like he had a lot of leads coming into his bank. Then we had a lot of conversations with a lot of leads. Then there was a lot of automation. And now it's turned into a really well-chiseled machine that every week or every month, he's adding more and more people to his mastermind group. And he's like neck to neck with me. We're only like 15 sales apart. So it's a wonderful feeling to know that he's been there with me for my whole business. But I wish he was here. That would be a really cool intro to get him to start talking and stuff like that. But seeing as he's not present, what I would definitely suggest is that we pick people that inspire us, and we pick people that are doing things inside of the business that we like, and we follow it and we emulate it. There's no shame in taking what works and doing it again. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, but there are certain things that you have to do in your business to make sure you're showing up. One of them is to actually make a post. If you post every day and you actually showing up on your social media, you gain a little bit of momentum every single day, whether it's a go live, a video, recorded, pre-made, a post, a story, a meme, a picture, a quote, whatever it is that gives you a pulse to your professional, your Facebook page. Think of it, right? Like when you're any runners or anybody exercise or break a sweat, your heart beats faster. And remember the James Bond movie where he had to pretend like he was dead? He dropped his heartbeat to like less than a certain amount of things per minute so that he could still be alive but not be present. It's the same thing happens when you're disconnected from your business. It's like, I still got this, but I'm really not doing very much with it. Whereas if you get the beat running every single day, it's like you're running. It's like you're actually like exhausting energy to say, I'm showing up today. What am I learning? What am I doing? Which really brings a new a problem. What are you going to use for content? How are you supposed to even show up every day with something brand new to say to your audience? This is where you get a chance to actually look into what books you're reading, regurgitate those. What did you see on the event? Regurgitate that. What are you journaling? Put that onto a video or a post. What are you what are you hearing your mentors say? Quote your mentors or quote their posts and repurpose their media for your own. Guys, it's like we want to show people a community effect. In my opinion, this is what I would be training my team if they were in my financial house. Omar's got a really powerful team inside of this mastermind as well. Do you want to take on this, man? Do you have any thoughts or any opinions on what I'm talking about?
Oh, I can't hear.
You're muted. Hold on.
Can't hear.
Sorry about that. I unmuted myself. No, it's basically just putting in the work every single day. Obviously everyone falls off and everything, but that's really the only way to stay relevant. You know what I mean? Just basically add value to the masses. Like I was listening to the GAZ live tonight with Mark Lack, and he was basically saying it's like just add value. That's really all it is. Like look at Oprah. She had 30 years of value for her clients and for the people that follow her, and now she's the OG of affiliate marketing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
If she recommends something, then all of her following is gonna, go and purchase that because she recommended it, type of thing, right? So it's the same thing as you being there and just adding value, like without even having to, be a salesperson. That's basically all it is.
So what's your DMO? Like, how do you take what's your income producing activities? You say you post every day, adding value. Like, how does that look? Like, what are you putting out?
Honestly, right now I'm basically working behind the scenes. Like I kind of fell off. Honestly, I fell off for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and after that last mastermind that I was with you guys, that kind of lit a fire under my butt again, and it just basically made me realize that like this is it, man. This is the business that I want to be in, and I gotta obviously put in effort and just do it. You know what I mean? That's all I got to do. But yeah, right now, basically, I'm just my main focus, because like my brain goes a million miles a second, is working out. So one of my main things is working out so that I can focus during the day. I work out for 2 hours a day, and I listen to books. You know what I mean? Self-development books, and I feel like I get notes from there, and like those are things that I use for my day to actually add value to the people that interact with me, because then I can provide something that interested me and something that was of value to me, and then something that they can actually use for themselves. You know what I mean? A lot of the people that follow us, they don't do business. You know what I mean? Like they're just regular, they're just the regular Joe. So they don't do all the self-development that we do. They don't do all the things that we do. So being able to direct them in the right direction is something that's going to be of value for them, and something that really a lot of them don't really know about. So
That's crazy, dude. I just want to I don't know if you know this or not. Just getting kind of spiritual on you guys for a second. Personal development in combination with physical exercise is like a secret, because you need to develop yourself as a machine. Your body is a machine. If you're
absolutely.
not, and Omar is just killing it for me right now, because I'm like, shit, I fell off of my personal health. You start to decline, and that feeling is you show up. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So if you're out there like rejuvenating the blood, imagine you're pumping the weight, and all of the adrenaline is moving outside of your body. That energy is exploded with this, like it's matched and woven into what's Grant saying, what's Tony saying, what's Gary saying, who you're listening to. It gets a chance to drain into your brain at that same fight or flight mechanism where we're trying to. Yeah, can you speak on the power between those two, Omar?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's like the way that I see it is working out is the exact same as building a business. You know what I mean? You have to be dedicated, you have to have determination, and you have to show up every single day. You know what I mean? You have to make the right decisions on a daily basis to put the right things in your body. So it's the exact same thing with business. Is you gotta sacrifice. You gotta make sure that you're on point and all those kind of things, right? So for me, it's the exact same thing. It's a perfect metaphor for business, because guess what? It doesn't. You can't go to the gym for one day and all of a sudden expect it to like have all the results or burn all the fat and all that kind of stuff. It's the same thing with running your business. It's a level thing. You know what I mean? It takes time and it takes effort and it takes dedication. But eventually, if you do a little thing every single day, by the end of the year, you're going to grow in huge amounts, right? So that's my mentality, and that's kind of why I like to use that analogy with a lot of the people that reach out to me. It's just that you're not going to see results in a single day,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the thing, is that you got to work at it slow but steady and be consistent. That's the only thing that you got to do.
Thanks, man. Thanks for calling me out of my shit, dude. I appreciate you. I gotta get back. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. I got the.
But you can do it mentally.
You can do it
right?
mentally
like
and pretend.
Maybe I'm not going to the gym, right? But I can just meditate and it's like I'm working out. It actually works, they say.
Yeah.
So
I heard that. I heard that for sure. So, but yeah, I appreciate that. Just really linking that in for me for sure. Any of you guys want to drop in on any of this? I know that we've got some pretty new guys in here. Ty's had some pretty powerful success. I'd love to know like what keeps you organized, and what do you do on a daily basis that drives your business forward? Like, what is it? If you could coin it into a phrase or a set or like a bit of a training, how would you speak on that?
What I do? Well, I'd say consistency is like the number one thing. Like number one. Well, plus two, you also got to have like the right mindset too, right? Because if you're not like laser focused on what you want to do, and if you don't have kind of have like clear vision, because one thing I do is keep focused is I got a whiteboard here. Well, I got everything done that I got to get done today, right? And then I'll write everything out that I got to do, whether that's do a post, do a go live, or prepare content, or any kind of ideas that I'll have. I'll kind of write it out ahead of time, right? And then but I don't make the list too long, because, well, I don't want it too long that I won't like get anything done, right? But I want it short enough that I'll accomplish them. So I'll do like 3 to 5 tasks I gotta get done, and then I'll kind of work off that, and then that's what keeps things going for me. And then staying organized, this kind of part of business, right? And just like writing things down and keeping track of things, bookmarking things, and then also comes down to a lot of like reading too, right? Because like all the info you need's on like Google, right? So sorry, I've been getting over a cold for the last like 2-3 days, so it's like,
Hey man, we should get better. Drink some more 9.5.
yeah, I know. I've been scarfing that down like tomorrow. It's like
That's awesome. Yeah, so I mean, like, I'm seeing some themes, guys. I'm seeing some themes about consistency, and I know it personally because whenever I'm not consistent, I notice that my business starts to drop. And there are certain times, like holidays, right? We're all human beings. We got kids. We got young people in our lives. Well, some of us do. But we definitely want to, be there for them. But then the whole feeling of all that stuff that happens in North America anyway. During winter or our winter, it's very cold, right? So we're just kind of like we want to hibernate. I like to think that there's the inner game. People can see that when you show up what you're going to do and who you're going to be shows up that way. But how about Sally? Can you add on this topic about staying consistent, writing out posts,
Doing the magic.
the magic?
Yeah, for straight 28 days.
That's gold right here.
Yeah,
Gold.
yeah.
What about it? How did it help?
It helps when you have the gratitude, where you're being grateful. It helps with your mindset and just attracting wealth and attracting what you really want. So and visualize my goals, and this is a daily thing that I do. And posting every day, going live, which I haven't been doing lately, but posting every day or every other day for me is my.
I like to think that if you've got a block, like let's say you're supposed to go live and you don't, or you can't, it could just be that there's another thing you should be doing in your business. And then when you get the confidence to come back around, you can. Or if you feel like you want to jump off the cliff of comfort zone, you always could. But I mean, like, where are you more powerful? In the places that you are, it could be a good power story or a good picture or a good something like that, as opposed to you coming live. It's a bit tough, right?
Yeah,
sometimes.
It's not for everyone, but like Omar said, that right now Facebook wants you to do more lives because of the algorithm. They show it to more people.
Yeah.
Videos.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to see stuff that's happening right now. Like, it's crazy. They're going to come out with a feature in Facebook that lets you see things that are going to happen that aren't even happening yet.
So maybe it doesn't have to be go live. It can be a recorded video.
Yep. You can have a recorded video as well. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think the nice thing about video in an online digital world was that for the last 15 years, the online digital world has been turning into texting and sitting on your phone just doing like this. So if you bring a piece of the light back and you actually show yourself on video or camera, people can see you, feel you. They can actually hear your energy. They can see you for their own eyes. Like, it's a transition effect. I think one of the more powerful ways to connect with your audience would be something like, connecting over video. And if you're death afraid of the red light and you just can't do this whole like go live stuff, maybe, what you read that day, that you could go in and do a 5-minute training session or a review, the same way that you'd have to do that in school when you were in grade 5 and you had to read the book, and then they say, okay, now do the book report and teach us about what happened inside of your chapter. So you could definitely repurpose that media as well, or that education as well, for your own personal media. But it comes back down to what Mark was saying earlier with that through Omar, which is like, just add value. Always keep adding value. And I remember, because like Mark, if you guys don't know, as a friend of Balaj and has been there with him, sort of training him. So, and same with Cameron George. So when we see all the stuff that's happening in Gaz, and a baby micro version of it, we were doing it back before Gaz existed. So when I see it again, I'm like, yes, that's awesome. It is really leveling up. But it's the same thing, guys. The game's not changing. It is not changing. A few years ago, it was the exact same thing. The only difference now is the algorithm and posting on Facebook. The system will change, but the authentic pieces on the inside won't. And that's a really big, powerful thing to remember, is that we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're just trying to get better and better at doing the same thing. We're just helping the next person create some value in their lives as well. So yeah, cool, super stuff on that. Stephanie, how about you? Anything to add or anything you want to?
I just wanted to say that I have been struggling myself as well just with my academics and, health and everything. But I'm becoming a lot more clear about like the last webinar that we did last week talking about, I can't remember who it was, but he was talking about becoming like your own CEO of your life and figuring out like marking what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And so I'm going to apply that to my academics, to my to this business, to my workout regime. I have big goals and everything, and I think sometimes I get stuck in the whole go big or go home and not the micro steps. But I'm a firm believer in taking consistency and showing up and do it, consistency over intensity kind of, right? But all I've got to say what I'm going to start doing, and I can I guess check in with you next week to see how it goes, but I've kind of I'm kind of bad with it, but I've created like a wall in my bedroom to separate my study area from where my bed is.
Cool.
And also just first thing in the morning, I've tried this whole I heard a podcast went off about this whole 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you get up and go, and doing workout first thing in the morning, like Omar said, and being consistent with that and having the energy to go throughout your day and just be more fulfilled and positive and put your all into what you're doing. And then also actually scheduling times for studying, for workout, for class, and for, putting, you're saying, putting some kind of beneficial output onto my page. So that's just an update or a go live or what, but yeah, so
Sweet. That's awesome.
that's where I'm at right now, and I'm reading this book right now, which is I don't know where the magic is. I don't have the magic. Apparently there's a PDF document for it. I haven't found it, but I'll do that.
Absolutely send it to you. Yeah.
Cool.
Richard, what's going on, buddy? Welcome to the call, man.
Richard.
Hey, what's up, guys? How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. This might be a shot in the dark, but Stephanie, were you the one that Scott helped set up the machine in Victoria?
Yeah.
I thought you looked familiar from that chat yesterday or 2 days ago.
I didn't know you were in that group.
Yeah. Well, you got the VIP custom setup at your place.
Oh, you know it. Yeah, I forgot to tell you about that, Bobby and Ty. I got my K8 set up and my Nespa. I think I told you. I don't know.
Congratulations. Welcome to the good life.
Scott hooked me up real good.
That's awesome. Guys, the man and the myth, the legend appears. Richard Forbes. This guy, honestly, I was talking about you a second ago. I'm just building you up, trying to do a really long edification of you before you came on. But then I was like, all right, let's just get on with this. And then we started talking about some cool stuff. But I would love it if you could. I mean, maybe I can go into this a little bit by talking about some of the things that you've done. But these guys know that I've known you since we were kids. And just how much you inspire me inside of the business by maintaining a level of consistent effort and consistent growth, that ability to take a very tactical and practical approach to this business by measurable activity. And then where I come in is a bit more of the mindset, the bigger picture. I like to think that together we come together with a really powerful 1-2 punch, where I get a chance to take a look at the 40,000-foot view and your eyes on the ground and eyes on the street and eyes on the front. But can you speak a little bit about what you attest to your success and how it's sort of come over in the last, 3 years, 4 years of business?
Yeah, sure, man. So to give everyone a bit of context on some things that we hear about a lot inside of sales or network marketing or online marketing. Number one is when I was first getting started with Enagic, Bobby was he was amazing in his follow-up that literally it took me 6 to 7, maybe even 8 months from the time I heard about this business to when I actually purchased my machine. So again, just it speaks volumes to just staying consistent and like touching base, following up with your leads, your prospects, whoever they are. I was one of those people that literally took me 6 or 7 months to make a decision. So that's number one. In terms of like speaking to like any sort of success or that sort of thing, is just never quitting. Again, I've been in this business now for like 4 years with Enagic. In my first 2 years, when we were just doing everything offline, I made like 3 or 4, maybe 5 sales total in 2 years. I don't know too many other people in the business that stick through that. When like when things don't like explode or take off in the first little while. So I just made the commitment that the biggest part of my mindset I said was that the reason I'm not having success at this moment isn't because of a business, a product, a thing, a place. It all was because of me. Like I always just said to myself, like my skills just aren't good enough to get the type of results that I ultimately want. And switching to a different place or a different company or any of that sort of stuff isn't going to be the solution for me. I could go and sell a $5 product and I'm still going to struggle with the same things I was. And so I just made the commitment that I was going to hone my skills in one place. So that was another big part. And then even when we started with started online, I was thinking that I'm like, this is the solution. Like I thought literally I'm going to place an ad and like all the sales were going to come in, and it didn't happen, obviously. So it took me like 3 to 4 months before my first GAZ sale came in. And then after that, I realized, and this is like hopefully a tangible thing for everybody. This is where like my logic brain kicks in. Like there's got to be some more strategy to this, because I felt for a period of time that I was literally closing my. What I felt like was I felt like I was in like a hockey arena. I'm not sure if you guys are in Canada or where, like hockey or a football stadium, and I felt like I was trying to find a loony inside of a hockey stadium with the lights up. Like that's what I felt like finding a winning ad was all about.
Shoot, Forrest froze on us. We'll see if he comes back. Give it a few minutes and he'll be back. But yeah, guys, like honestly, I was like he mentioned there that it took him about 6 to 7 months before he made his decision, and he made the same comment about the people inside of his business. That's how that he froze. It takes people some time. People don't do this automatically, right? And some people want to see you grow. And because I got a chance to, hey, Forbes, you back?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry.
Yeah.
Apparently, Shanghai internet isn't the greatest. Anyways, yeah, I'll just finish off. Like, hopefully, this is like a bit of the first part was a bit of story and a bit of mindset stuff, and really just the key is just like persistence and just never quitting, really. But like now, like moving forward in terms of like some things you can really hold on to. So after the first 5 months of marketing, I felt like I was literally just guessing, like putting a post up and guessing. And if it wasn't working, I was trying these different interests and different posts, and I felt like needle in a haystack kind of feeling. And then I really went back to the training and I watched the split testing training. And that's when I realized that you can truly engineer and create a winning ad. And I said to myself, like, if I just split test something different every single day, 30 days later, there's no way I'm not generating leads, period. And then sure enough, I committed to 30 days, and it only took me about 12 days of split testing to start generating a consistent amount of leads. And that's when sales started coming in and I was able to scale, and that's where everything kind of took off. I was able to go from like 9 sales to almost now 6A. So like whatever, 80, 90, 95, coming up to 6A quite closely. But it was all split testing, and specifically with split testing, it was like number one is I chose one specific audience instead of guessing, like I'm going to test Starbucks or football or peanuts or entrepreneurship or Gary Vaynerchuk. I'm going to just choose one audience. This is my perfect audience. And then from there, knowing that this was my perfect audience, I knew that if it wasn't converting, it was my ad. It wasn't the interest. It wasn't anything else. It was just what I was posting. And I would test 3 things. I went all in on video. Pictures never really worked for me. But in the very beginning, I would test like picture versus video or picture versus picture. but then I said, I'm going to go all in on video. You can retarget with video. So I went all in on video. So then I would test video versus video. And then I would test like headlines. So that's like the stuff you can see above the see more fold. Maybe before they click down to see the rest of it. So that was, I would test that stuff there. I would test the video. And then I would just test like the rest of the ad copy. The rest of the ad copy was like, it was a big variable, but those are the three things I would really do. And every 2 days I would put up new variations of it. And like I said, at that point, it took me 12 days of doing that before I was getting consistent leads every day. And that's where, once you start having leads, business becomes fun. And it's like, ooh, now I'm in the next evolution. I can like start retargeting, and I can start the follow-up and phone calls and all this other stuff. But up until getting leads, business can be frustrating and it can be annoying. It can be like, that's where like the biggest challenge is. It's where like, for me, it kind of sucked. It's like, this sucks. Like, I don't even feel like a real marketer until I'm getting leads. That was for me. But as soon as that came in, it's like that monkey off my back. And then I could like test different other things to convert into an magic. But number one is just getting leads. That was my big thing. So I hope that helps. And I'll just kind of stop there. I don't want to talk too much. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer, whatever.
Absolutely, guys. And just so you know, as we are recording this, and Forbes like a wealth of information. You nailed on something really powerful there, man. It's like once you started filling up your lead bank, the game became different, and you got a chance to now suddenly learn about leadership, communication. You got on and done some very powerful webinars for the teams as well. And to be a coach as well, to help put someone through a purposeful conversation. It's been a wonderful thing to see you just excel as a leader, man. Like what I would hope is that we would just like take you and duplicate you and have the mindset, the consistency, and the critical thinking skills, and take that and box that up as an entrepreneur. Your team as well, the people that are coming into you, they're serious. They're actually serious about it. I think that you've spent a lot of time creating what your audience has to look like. For the purpose of recording and the people that are seeing this, can you maybe speak a little bit about how to create your avatar? I know Sally and I were having this conversation, but like when you were creating your audience, that was that epiphany between shooting in the dark and engineering your winning ad. How did you come up with the audience factor?
Sure. First off, my audience, it morphs and it evolves and it changes over time. So don't think like the audience you set today needs to be that one forever. So I started with me. So I looked at 25 to 35 years old. I looked at someone who was working full time. I am a public school teacher, or but I didn't want to target teachers, which seemed like everyone's low hanging fruit. It was so easy to target their occupation, but I didn't want to target teachers. And so what I ended up doing was I looked at the other part of me, which was like competitive sports. And so I literally just like, my first layer was, I want people to be competitive minded, where they have like this sort of drive, ambition to them. And so I found interests that was like literally competitive athlete, university athlete, semi-pro athlete, CrossFit, like these sort of things that like was involved with like pushing your body physically and being competitive. That was layer number one. And then from there, layer number two, which is where I put like, it must meet this criteria. And I clicked the narrow button and it went down to one other thing. That's where I didn't know which version of me I was going to find it. So it was like the competitive athlete who also meditates. That was one audience. The competitive athlete who also is interested in entrepreneurship. That was another audience. The competitive athlete who was into investments. That was another one. The competitive athlete who was into travel. So I basically had about 4 or 5 audiences that were all competitive athletes, and then the different aspects of me. And then what I would do is I would test those 4 audiences. And that's how I dialed it in. Is I looked at what I viewed as my best characteristics of who I would want to attract. And I started targeting those. But layer number one was I wanted them to be competitive. Now what that can also look like is maybe you want to work with parents. So layer number one would be like parents or have children or married. That could be layer number one for you. And then it could be like married people who travel, or married people who like to read books, or married people who like to listen to Gary Vaynerchuk, whatever it is. But I always found that layer number one is constant. And that's kind of like the characteristic of who they are. And then the next layer was the interest of what that person liked. So that's how I did that. And then I've also started doing a lot of exclusion. So I exclude things. So I exclude stuff like unemployed, not yet working. I've even excluded stuff like people who have relationship statuses that say it's complicated. I've started excluding that. And then I exclude like Kong and Water, Enagic, AWOL, that sort of thing. So I started really getting clear on who I also don't want. I also got clear, I don't want to attract married people. For whatever reason at that time, I wanted to attract people who were not married. So I excluded people who had marriage as their relationship status. Again, none of those things are right or wrong. It's just what I wanted for my avatar. And then so once I knew exactly what I was talking about in my ad copy, I would talk about like the things that that I would always feel when I was like in that competitive mindset. Right. So one of my big feelings was I hated being like in a work environment where there was no incentive to grow, to earn more, to advance. I didn't like that part of that work environment. And so I talked about that because I figured people who had competitive mindsets might share that same sort of feeling. And so number one is I got clear on who my person was. And then number two is I tried to match that message in whatever I was talking about.
That's awesome, man. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to keep on picking your brain here because you've proven it. And just don't mind my little boy in the back here. He's going to get some food in a second. But so what about actually clarifying your message? So we talked about this last week. We were talking about creating neutrality and positivity inside of the words that we speak, instead of attracting things like I was sick and tired of being broke and I hated my job, I hated my life. And I was like, that was like the only ad that I could ever come up with, was that like shitty feeling that I don't want to be in anymore. Like, how did you transition into having like thought and like, I remember, what was it? Like, some of your headlines are just so witty, and it's just like, not even witty, but like, it's just so sharp to think it's like, oh, like thinking that I couldn't have done it was really just a myth or something like that. Like, can you explain a little bit about how you dialed in the message?
How I dialed in the message. Truthfully, I just made 100 different messages and I saw which one worked. Like if you ever went back through like my old ad accounts, I ran so many different ads and I just tried a bunch of different things. So I would write every single day. And I would also, there was also a couple key elements that I looked at. I always try to I'm going to try to give you guys something that's very, very actionable. So number one was I looked at, so first off, inside of that headline is you can actually, what I try to do is I try to fit as many of these elements in to the part that you can see without need to click see more or continue reading. Mm-hmm. Number one was I tried to have a common bond, which is describing the person I'm talking to. So that might be like, again, as a competitive athlete, or as a single mother of two, or as an avid traveler. I would try to describe very, very clearly the exact person I was talking to. So I call that a common bond. That's number one. It could even be something like, as someone who always believed in the law of attraction. That right there, like, oh, I believe in the law of attraction too. That's a common bond that you share with someone, and it makes someone know that, hey, that person's speaking to me. So that was number one. Who's the common bond? Number two was, what is their pain or challenge that they're experiencing, right? And then, as you were mentioning, Bobby, like trying to frame it in a different way, because knowing that all of our words attract, right? I don't want to attract someone who hates their job. I want to attract someone who is who is actively looking to, who feels there's something more in their life. For example, like I hate my job versus I have this feeling there's something more for me. Same general feeling, but it's two different emotions. So what was their pain or challenge they're experiencing? Pain typically, when I framed it like that, it typically exhibited more negative emotions. When I thought of challenge, a challenge can still be framed quite positively. My challenge was I knew there was something more for me. I struggled to find out what it was. Or my challenge was I had this like wanderlust spirit to travel the world, but I had, a week of holidays. It's still framed quite positively. So what's the challenge. What's the ultimate desire? So sometimes those get built in together. So challenge, ultimate desire or want, and then the mechanism. The mechanism is like the solution on how that can all work. Now I'll get a little bit more detail. I'm going to go a little bit deeper here because I think you guys, I see everyone writing notes. The mechanism, if you're speaking to an audience of people who are unaware of online business, online marketing, affiliate marketing, and you're just kind of like meeting them as like, hey, I was a parent wanting to spend more time with my kids, but they've never heard of business before, then that mechanism, you want it to be a little bit more curiosity based. So it might be something like, to spend more time with my kids, I kept on looking online. I just didn't know even the first steps to do it. So it would be very general, like online, all right? Or something that was, I could work remote, right? So when you're targeting an audience that is unaware, you want to use a little bit more vague words, because if you go into an audience and say like affiliate marketing or internet marketing, because that audience has never heard of it before, they're going to immediately see that word and be like, oh, that's not for me. I'm not an internet marketer. All right. So that's what I mean by that. And I think for most of us, we're going to be targeting an unaware audience. And why that's a good thing is because when you're like, whoever your audience is, if it's parents with kids, if it's the wanderlust travelers, whenever you dial in your audience, you've created like a blue ocean, which means like nobody else is fighting over your people. But when you dip down into like a higher and more awareness and you start targeting affiliate marketers, what I've found is that you're swimming in a red ocean, which means it's like shark infested waters. There's a million affiliate marketers all targeting affiliate marketers. And so it's very tough to be heard. But if you just step up one layer to someone who, like I said, is competitive mindset or who reads books, they're not quite at affiliate marketer, but they have the right mindset. So by going up one, you create this blue ocean. And what I mean by that is like, imagine going fishing where $100 fishing boats are because that's the number one fishing hole. Yes, it's the number one fishing hole, but now you're competing against 100 other fishermen. But if you just go 100 meters around the corner and now you're the only boat there, even if there's less fish, but you're the only boat there, it's a lot more of an enjoyable experience. This is no different. So to wrap all that stuff up, the mechanism, the thing that you want to refer to is a little bit more vague, and it's more about like working remote, online, doing something online, something like that. So that's, to answer your question, Bobby, that's how I dialed in my message and tried to speak directly to them.
That's awesome, man. It's just so crazy. I've known this guy since we were kids. I'm like, he just amazes me whenever I see you, like you doing crazy things, man. I absolutely appreciate you so much for everything you've done for me in my life and my business. And to see what's happening while you froze, I mentioned to people that you made that comment that it takes your leads about 6 somewhat average months to make a decision for themselves. And it kind of reminds me of that feeling that was like, the way that you start in business is the way that other people are going to start. Was that what you were feeling, or do you think that maybe you're not as aggressive in your advertising, that you allow them like a progress to know you, like you, and trust you over time? How do you accommodate for the understanding that it takes that long for someone to opt in or come to see you for the first time to making an Enagic or a gas purchase decision?
Yeah. So to clarify, I don't believe that it takes someone 6 months. Like that's not my standard. I think it takes people varying amounts of time. So I think someone can see your ad. Like I have people on my team that saw it and within 3 days they purchased Enagic, Trifecta, they're all in. Whereas I have other people 6 months, 8 months, a year later, or even more. So there's varying. So my mindset towards that is I'm only going to be concerned with just the top of the funnel, more people pouring into the top of the funnel, and they're going to make decisions when they're ready. That was number one. I've always found that my marketing, I think, has been a little bit passive. I don't know. I've never been like the hustle, like hard sell, like that sort of thing. So I've always had I've always built on rapport, and just building trust through rapport, through questions, through constantly showing up. I don't know if that quite answers your question.
Absolutely.
But
Actually, it leads me to the real big one that I have, is that you not only build rapport through questions, you also build posture through leading people through a conversation, whether it be at the advisor level or at the actual you're talking to your leads. But can you maybe because I don't know if you remember or not, but we used to man your inbox, and what should we say? We should used to text dump to people. And it got to the point now where it's you've got a very concise level of duplication inside of your conversation that you have with people.
Yeah. It is a quite, it's all kind of scripted just because you figure it out over time. I'm also testing different things as well. So to answer what's your question, man?
Well, I guess what I really want to figure out, or what I really want you to speak on, is how the power of questions sets you up for posture instead of just text dumping with people when you're early in our conversation.
Sure. I find it very similar to social conversation. Is I never want to talk for more than 30 seconds to a minute if I'm in a social conversation. I think the same as with a message on Facebook. Anytime I see I'm sure you guys can agree with this. You see a long message, it's I immediately shut off. This person's, I don't like it. So anyways, I usually just start off with, have you ever, something easy, a yes or no question. Have you ever done business online before? Or is this your first time? Right? It gets them interacting. It's an easy question to answer. Oh, cool. This is your first time? Oh, congratulations. It's super exciting. What has you wanting to do business online in the first place? It's for personal question. It's easy to do. Okay, great. I've usually then gone into when are you ideally looking to get started? And they usually say somewhere along the lines of right now. Okay, awesome. And then because I use, so it's 2 or 3 questions, and then I use what they just shared, it's their first time. Hey, seeing this is your first time, I would recommend you starting with one of our introductory training. It's a free course, but you can go through that training, and from there, I don't even know what I say, but start with the free training. From there, if it's something that you really aligns with you, and we've also got some memberships and some communities that it's a paid membership that you can work with coaches and mentors and have training to keep on going further. But my number one focus is just to get them to the webinar. I don't try to do too much. I just try to get them to the webinar, and I pre-frame it by saying, look, it's your first time. My biggest suggestion would be to watch this. When would be a good time to watch it? And we can follow up. And they say, I can watch it by tomorrow night. Sounds good. Here's the link, and I'll shoot you a message tomorrow night. And I try to end it at that. My mindset towards this is I try to have my conversations be duplicatable and also scalable. When Bobby can attest, when I first started, I would have very, very long conversations, 15, 20 messages, but it wasn't scalable. I couldn't do that hundreds or thousands of times over. So I really tried to shorten it up and do it something that's a little bit more scalable. I can do it at a larger number of people.
That's awesome. It's just crazy because I'm seeing it again. I'm seeing the amount of growth, and I'm seeing just this a very smooth as butter, cool as ice kind of feel about this guy and his communication. That's there's a sense of detachment, and there's just a feeling of like you're going to drop it for someone. You're not trying to convince them or pull them. You're just showing up, and that scalability is you're basically just sifting and sorting and just finding out the people who are actually serious or showing up.
But I'll just share one last thing. I have a call. I'm going to jump on in about 5 minutes for a coaching call. But I just want everyone to know, and I'll just be open and transparent. They always say mindset is such a big thing. I've been doing this for 4 years, online for 2.5 years. Even over Christmas break, I had really, really bad, really self-limiting. My mind was attacking myself. I was I can't. Everything was negative. I can't do this. Even though I've already had results to show this. My mind was terrible. I had to completely disconnect from social media. I was getting scared. I'm I put all this work and effort into this, and my mind is telling me I'm going to quit. Literally, that's where I was at 2-3 weeks ago. So I just want everyone to know that the mindset is a constant thing, and that I still have that little voice telling me, you can't do this. Like, you're not going to be good enough. Like, there's no way you're going to scale. Like, all these things. And it's just like, it never leaves you. At least it never leaves me. And so I just want everyone to know, like, it's normal. Like, I've felt it so many times, but whenever I felt like quitting, it's like, well, what's my other option? Like, even if I go back to work or I go back to doing anything else, like I'm still gonna have that void of why I started in the first place. There's no competitive drive. I don't have the flexibility and the freedom that I want. I'm not earning what I wanted from my work. I'm still gonna go back to why I started in the first place. So even though I had those like really, really tough, challenging mental times, literally as of 2 weeks ago, the alternative is I'm still not, if I quit, I'm not gonna be fulfilled. Quitting is not gonna be the solution for me. And so I gave myself the room to go through that really rough mind time and just take some breaths, let it happen, disconnect a little bit, and then come back to it. Because like, for me, I'm clear that everything that GAZ online business has for me is the solutions and where I'm going to. That's where all my fulfillment lies. The journey, the process, the community, everything, the money, the time, the work remotely, it's all here for me. I'm clear on that. And so I just know that no matter what, I was not going to quit, even though I went through like really, really rough patch. So just want to put that out there because I know I hope I'm not the only one that feels that way. But yeah,
Oh, I'll tell you this, man. Like, I don't even admit it when that happens to me. I only admit it on hindsight. But like, I just want you to know, I appreciate everything you've done for me in my life. In business, you believed in me. You were always there for me. Always a brother, always a friend. And you become one of the most valuable people inside of my existence. So please don't ever quit. I know there's a lot of people who would say that same thing as well. You've grown into such a huge leader, and you guys all have this. You guys all have this ability to run at the Forbes level. I call it the Forbes effect. And when I look back at it, looking as a leader in my team, the only thing that he has to say about it is that he worked hard and actually stayed consistent. So you deserve a little bit of downtime, a little bit of time to just take back and reflect. Some powerful things have happened for you in your life, and just get ready for the next year, man. Like, this is such a wonderful opportunity that we have in front of us, and this is the year that we hit our 6 A's and that we start like grabbing our leadership by the balls and just like absolutely creating some serious power. So I appreciate you guys so much, and Forrest for coming out and sharing your value with us, and all you guys for being here. People on the replay watching this as well. Never give up on yourself. Even when you do give up on yourself, just reach out to other people around you. Because in this case, if he comes at me and says that, I'm going to be like, dude, man, you're such an inspiration. You're like the power behind all this. And I know that's going to make him feel good. And I know that's going to make me feel good as well. So I appreciate you, man. Like, honestly, like you are an inspiration to us all.
But once you're an entrepreneur, you can never quit.
No, yeah, you really can't.
Even if you want to, you can't.
It's just like a gross feeling. I remember getting a job after I got into business, and I was like, no, this isn't going to be the way it works. And well, look at us now. So
I will say as well, like, I feel like this is like one of my tangents I've gone off with myself, is that there's a bit of like a conception that like jobs you can't have a job and the goal is to quit your job. I would actually remind everyone that like your job is sometimes gonna be like the life fuel of your business. Like, I've actually went out and like picked up other jobs because that fuels my marketing. And I found that when I quit and I was just running this full time, that like I was living off of most of my profits from my business, which meant that not a lot was going back in, which dried up my marketing. So I look at a job as my personal source of investment for my business. And my opinion is like, until I can live off of like 10% of my business earnings, I'm going to keep a job because that's going to fuel my marketing budget to grow my business. So I also want to just put that out there as well, is that there's absolutely no shame. I actually think there's massive benefit to having another source of income, like a job. That's just personal experience.
Yeah, it actually blew my mind when you said it the first time. You're like, that's your funding source. Like, we don't want to like disregard that or disavow that, but at the same time, we do want to be free. But I do appreciate that vibe.
Like that back and forth. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man, for sure.
So,
all right, guys. Well, we've come up to the hour. What I'll do is I'm going to respect everybody's time. I know Forbes got a call. And we've got a baby to wake up in a few hours and keep us up all night. So that's going to be fun. But I appreciate you guys so much. We're going to do this again next week. We're going to do this every week. Let's just create a solid pulse for your business and ours. And I appreciate you guys showing up. And Forbes, this is the last time I'm going to call on you for sure, man. But there you go. Now he's eating.
No, man, I'd love to join in.
I was waiting for you to pop some into your mouth, man. Like, this guy you can't get through a meeting webinar without eating something.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, I'll talk to you guys soon. All right, guys. Have a great night.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Hey guys, adios.
Adios.